Okay, tried to do this 4 times last night. Did not succeed. Just start out with a cool bird, the Montezuma aurum pendula, Central American bird, South and Central America. Check out this huge nest, colony. Just, I don't know, it's amazing to me that these birds build these nests with basically just using their beak, leaving this up in the air, and then they all live together. Seems like a pretty good way to exist here. Alright, list Amphibia, chapter 10. These are the extant amphibians. These are the 8,681 species that remain, well, that are the really, probably more likely the offspring of the end of a line that made it through all the various extinctions and are alive today. As of yesterday, that was how many species have been described. Frogs, salamanders, caecilians, these are the 3 main clades of amphibians. Class Amphibia, these are the 3 orders. Things that mark the amphibians really is their skin, and that they do not have any kind of keratinized structure in their skin. They don't have hair, they don't have scales, they don't have feathers. We'll see that this is very much a general kind of thing, that amphibians have aquatic larvae and terrestrial adults. That's kind of the quintessential amphibian biphasic lifestyle character. However, there's a lot of deviations from this. Okay, here are the actual shared derived characters shared among amphibians. These are characteristics encoded in the DNA that are found in this branch of tetrapods. Remember, genes are transmitted vertically up and down, well, really just down these branches on the family tree of animals, and it is found in that clade and no other clades. We see those glandular structures in the skin of the amphibian. Lots of different peptides and mucosal type secretions made. Unique auditory and visual systems in amphibians. Rods are the way that we perceive color, and they have a special type of rod found in no other type of animal called green rods that seem to be cued in on the blue wavelength. Many amphibians can see in UV too. They have specialized teeth called pedicellate teeth, and their head and buccal cavity is unique in that the orbits or the eyes are held up out of that cavity by these muscles that are not found in other groups. So those pedicellate teeth. Here's the jaw. Here's the crown and the base. And they have this distinctive separation between them. And that's, again, I don't know functionally why it is, but it's just, that's the way it is. Alright. Major clades within the list Amphibia. Caudata and Neurogymnophiona. We know that frogs and salamanders are more closely related to each other than either is to the caecilians. But there's still a lot of work being done in these taxa phylogenetically. And we do know that it appears each one is a good monophyletic group. So here are those groups. And I think that, I'm not sure what year this is from, maybe 2018. Well, actually, it's from the primer that I put up on campus for you. And it shows us the three orders: Anura, Caudata, Gymnophiona. Gymnophiona is basal to the other two, so the frogs and salamanders would be sister to each other. We see the numbers here represent how many species are known. Certainly the diversity is in the frogs. Fewer species in the salamanders, and then even fewer in the caecilians. Where are they found? Same three clades: top frogs, middle salamanders, bottom the caecilians. And frogs are found all around the world, every continent except Antarctica. I don't know why they don't show Antarctica on this top map. Color here indicates the density of species, so species richness. And what is the pattern? Tropical, wet places are filled with species of frogs. Southeast Asia, parts of Australia, Africa, and in the Amazon are really where you go to see different types of frogs. Salamanders, very different story. There really are effectively no salamanders in Africa, few in North Africa, Middle East, huge swaths of Asia, no salamanders, none in Australia or South Pacific. The species this group either arose in Asia and spread to North America, or arose in North America and spread to the Old World. But there's the highest density really of species is in the southeastern U.S. But also huge radiation down in Central America and southern Mexico, and also parts of Asia. There's a pretty good diversity there. Caecilians, tropical group, Asia, Africa, South America, and South America looks to be the most diverse group. But we'll see, it's a very understudied group. Caudatans, 815 species. Body form, they're described as a prototypical ancestral tetrapod body form. 4 legs, a tail. They haven't really changed that much since those first tetrapods, those fishapod type things that we talked about in the last chapter. They move by flexing side to side, so undulating. That's how they lengthen their stride, is just by basically bending their spine back and forth. Most salamanders have some part of their life cycle as terrestrial, but there are some species totally aquatic. As I said, where you find the highest diversity. Really, the highest diversity of salamanders is in North Georgia, but especially Tennessee and North Carolina and the Smoky Mountains. Okay. We'll see paedomorphic lineages in this group. Paedo means juvenile, morphic meaning shape. These are species, these shown here, that basically retain a juvenile body form and are sexually mature. So we see A, B, C, really D, E, and F are all look basically like an aquatic juvenile body form. However, they're in an adult. Those are paedomorphic. Bottom, we get the more generalized types of species. Yeah, G is a tiger salamander, Investma, just like your Investma opacum and maculatum on your exam next week. And then H is European fire salamander. So, this is not representative of how many species. There are many more species of salamanders that look like the ones on the bottom. This is just looking at the diversity sea, for example, there are only 3 species of cryptobranchids, this being the hellbender, but they got the giant salamanders in China and Japan. Unique fact about salamanders, a lot of them are lungless. There's a huge family, the Plethodontidae. The biggest, really, yeah, by far the biggest and most speciose group of salamanders. Very successful, partly because that hyoidal apparatus that is used for lung breathing in a lot of amphibians has been used, modified to project the tongue, like a chameleon. Even the ones that we have here, the red salamander and the 2-line salamander, are capable of projecting their tongues like this, not that far left. Breeding salamanders, internal fertilization. So salamanders accomplish transferring the sperm to the inside of the female. They don't have a copulatory organ, so they accomplish this by laying a little sperm cap, and the female lowers her vent onto this and takes up the sperm. All of that requires a lot of coordination. It requires that the male and female be very tightly, just that coordinated, so that this can happen. And so these complex courtships have evolved among the different groups of salamanders. B and C are more locally relevant. I guess B would be probably similar to the slimy salamander or the spotted dusky. They'll do what's called a tail straddle. The male, once he has the female's attention and she has chosen him as a mate, they have all kinds of like a little dance. He lays the sperm cap, she straddles his tail, he walks forward the right distance so that the sperm cap is lined up with her vent, and then she lowers and takes up the. Here's Eurycia, probably Eurycia syringa, honestly. See, the inset shows the male on top of the female, and he's using his ceri, or his little teeth, to scrape the top of her head and introduce pheromones from a hedonic mental gland into her, basically into her bloodstream, which makes her receptive, and then they're able to complete courtship. The aquatic species on the bottom, underwater, he exudes pheromones and then uses his little tail to waft them at the female. So, very interesting courtship, and a lot of study has gone into this and looking at how this is genetically determined and how it's conserved in these different clades of salamanders. Frogs, 7,600 species everywhere except Antarctica. Generally, their whole body is specialized for jumping. That's the prototypical frog body plan. We'll see that is modified for various other lifestyles or ecological niches. But here are the words. All right. We'll see those fused lower arm bones, the radial ulna, the tibiofibula. These are fused into one bone because they don't really want that range of motion. The frog skeleton is designed for one motion, basically, which is hopping. Okay, and so fused but long legs. The sacral vertebrae, that would be between the pelvic girdle and the pectoral girdle, is very short and it's fused, not flexible. So when pressure is put on this body, it's not going to flex in the sacral vertebrae. The flexion happens in the urostyle, in the pelvic girdle. And in fact, this urostyle, which is a fusion of the